Hello and welcome to History on the Hoof. Today we're continuing our exploration of West Tanfield in North Yorkshire and going to take a look at the fascinating church of St Nicholas, which sits on the banks of the River Ure beside the remains of Tanfield Castle, which we looked at in an earlier video. There was no church recorded in the Domesday Book, West Tanfield itself only the site of 5 homes. However, it seems more than likely it had its origins in the 12th century. Sadly, it's recorded that the remaining Norman fabric of this era was removed in the 19th century renovations. As somebody who spends the majority of their working life these days involved in church archaeology, you would not believe how much early history was destroyed by the Victorians. But I digress. Approaching the church on the left are a series of cottages, which were once the houses of Chantry priests who were paid to pray for the souls of the Marmion family and had separate areas or chantries within the building, which we will see. Although much of what we can see on the roadside is late 18th century, these houses sit on much earlier foundations, dating back to the late 13th century, when they were put up to house the priests. All chantries were made illegal after the Reformation, and this one ceased in 1546. All in all, a very ancient spot. The church we see today is a mix of 13th, 15th and 19th centuries. As we approach on the south wall, you can see the step, which is the remains of a chantry chapel. We will have a look at it when we move inside. The porch, dating from 1200, is very unusual, being built pyramid-like of stone blocks. Outside of it are 2 carved stone dog tethers used to tie dogs while you were in church. Inside the church there is a collection of Anglo-Saxon period sculpture and also a cross shaft in the graveyard. They date to the late 9th century and seem to have originated from the Magdalen Field site about 2 miles away. As well as possibly an Iron Age promontory fort, it has been speculated that it was the site of an Anglo-Saxon chapel or monastery before it was used by the Marmion family as the site of their manor house before moving to the side of the church. It was referred to in old documents as the Hermitage. The church also contains a funeral bier and 5 very interesting medieval altar tombs with effigies of knights and ladies belonging to the Marmion family. Most of them date to the 1300s and display some fine armour and ladies' fashion of the period. Of them, the knight in chainmail could well be earlier, possibly the mid to late 1200s. All of them have been moved at some time in the past. The most spectacular altar tomb, bearing 2 alabaster images, is thought to be that of Sir John Marmion, who died in 1387, and his wife, who died in 1400. The man's feet rest on a lion, and the woman's very pointed slippered feet rest on a long-tailed dog. Sir John was a follower of John of Gaunt, the Duke of Lancaster, and was killed in Spain while fighting with him as he tried to secure the Kingdom of Castile. It's not known whether his body was ever returned home to Tanfield and buried here. What we do know from earlier drawings is that the position of the effigies have been reversed, probably in the 19th century. Although interesting to look at, what is far more important in terms of rarity is the wrought iron funerary hearse canopy, dating from the last decade of the 1300s. For those rich enough, they were set up over tombs and candles kept lit on them all year round. They could also be used to cover the tomb with a permanent pall, removed only on special feast days, or conversely to support a pall draped on specific occasions, such as the anniversary of the deaths of those beneath. Despite some conservation work, it's thought to be the only one like it surviving in the country. There is a funerary hearse in the Fitzholland Chapel in Arundel Castle, but it is not anywhere near as fine as this. Also in the church, as I've already mentioned, are the remains of two chantry chapels, one in the centre and one surviving in the south wall. The central one reminds me very much of an anchorite's cell and would have sat against the original medieval north wall. The chantries were founded by the Marmin family in the late 14th century, a boom time for chantries, and used by priests specifically employed to sing, say daily masses, and pray for the souls of the dead, usually family members. An endowment was set up to pay for them in the form of lands, goods, or money. During the Reformation, Acts were passed in 1545 and 1547, which transferred the very valuable endowments to the Crown. The Acts required the money to go to charities or to the public good, but of course most of it went to court cronies. Nothing changes. If you're ever in this area, I do recommend a visit to this peaceful and interesting church. As well as all this history, it also has a rather fabulous old walnut tree in the graveyard. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of History on the Hoof and look forward to talking to you again soon. If you liked it, please subscribe.